small town seemed to be nosy by nature. Everyone wanted to know who I was and exactly how I found myself in their little town. I was naturally tight-lipped about my personal life, although people at the office knew Tyir and I were an item. I had never been one to kiss and tell. Since it was time for quarterly reports, I'd been in meeting after freaking meeting all day. Tyir was out of town on business, doing the monotonous tech crap that he loved, but bored me to death. Somehow, hearing him drone on and on about his work suddenly made me want to lean in and listen to the latest developments in technology. The company's chief financial officer, on the other hand, could put anyone to sleep in 20 seconds flat, talking about revenue and profits. I was bored to death. Plus, I had taken all the notes I needed for the day. I knew what kind of numbers they were looking for in the upcoming quarter. I couldn't wait to get home or back behind my desk so I could strategize about how to make the projected figures a reality. Thankfully, his long-winded behind finally put his wire-rimmed glasses back on and sat down somewhere. With no other issues brought to the table, the meeting was dismissed. Scrambling from my seat, I moved out of the conference room. My heels clacked on the marble floor as I retreated to my office for a working lunch. Since coming to Pandora Cove, I tried to limit the amount of work I took home. Tyir expressed how he didn't want my mind occupied by work when I wasn't working. That was pretty much so my mind would be on him. I didn't have an issue with that. My man wasn't a bad subject at all, so it wasn't hard letting him occupy a little space in my thoughts. I'd scheduled a food delivery before the meeting. Still, I smiled when I walked into my little office and found a brown paper bag saturated with grease from the nearest decent Chinese restaurant. The smell of shrimp lo mein and crab ragoon made my empty stomach do a somersault as I rounded my desk. I hated it when I let myself get so hungry that I felt nauseous. That icky feeling didn't stop me from skipping breakfast more days than I should. Settling into my chair, I tore into the bag, eager to put some food into my hollow belly. I left home in such a hurry that I'd skip breakfast yet again to ensure that I made it to the first meeting of the morning on time. I popped a crab rangoon into my mouth as I unloaded my food. Just as I dug into my lo mein, there was a soft knock on the door. The rich musky scent of vanilla whooshed through the room, preceding my visitor as they entered my office uninvited. With a mouth stuffed with noodles, I looked up into the unfamiliar face of a beautiful fair-skinned woman. I chewed my food carefully as she walked deeper into my office. "Hi, how can I help you?" I asked, after clearing my mouth of the food I so desperately needed. I studied the designer pantsuit she wore. The gold buttons stood out against the ivory wool fabric. The double-breasted collar of her tailored suit fell perfectly around her neck, which was decorated by a single gold chain. She looked and smelled of wealth. As a matter of fact, she didn't exactly look lost. The confidence in her stride made her appear to know exactly where she was and what she was doing. I was pretty sure that I couldn't help her with anything. I was also sure that if she told me who or even what she was looking for, I could probably point her in the right direction. "You're Sienna, right?" the statuesque woman asked, taking the seat on the other side of my desk and crossing one leg over the other. The glossy red bottoms of her gold heels peeked at me as she settled into the seat. "I am. Who, might I ask, am I speaking with?" I asked. "I'm not yet sure how to answer that question," she said, as a long French manicured nail moved to touch her chin pensively. "Well, is there something I can help you with?" I wondered, lifting my eyebrows. I was too hungry to play a guessing game. Whoever she was, she needed to state her business because she was cutting into my lunch break. "Actually, there is," she confirmed with a slight nod, as she sat back in the chair and rested her hands on the armrest. "And that is?" I quizzed when she failed to elaborate. At that point, I was irritated with her game and just wanted her to spit it out so I could finish my food while it was still warm. "For starters, you can stop sleeping with my husband," she shrugged casually. "Second of all, you can pack your shed and remove yourself from this office quietly before I have you removed." "Excuse me?" I asked. My ears had to be playing tricks on me, because what in the entire fuck was this lady talking about? "I said stop fucking my husband and you're fired," she reiterated. Her nonchalance was astounding.